Hey brother, most men kill attraction by accident, not because they are unattractive, not because they lack value, because they cannot leave anything unfinished. They meet a woman they like and instantly start closing every loop. Every text gets answered too fast. Every conversation gets dragged past its natural peak. Every spark gets over-explained. Every little moment of tension gets smothered with reassurance, access, and too much emotional availability. And then they sit there confused, wondering why the energy faded. It faded because nothing was left alive. Nothing to wonder about, nothing to anticipate, nothing to revisit in her mind after you left. That is where most men lose. Attraction needs air, it needs space, it needs rhythm, it needs the feeling that something is still opening, not something that has already been fully consumed. And the man who understands that stops chasing women with more effort and starts pulling them in with something much stronger. Unfinished energy, not manipulation, not mind games, not fake silence, pacing. That is the whole thing. You ever notice how some interactions stay with you longer than they should? A conversation that ended too soon, a look that said more than the words around it, a story someone started and never finished, a message that opened a door in your mind and then just stopped. Your brain hates unfinished things. It circles them, replays them, keeps reaching back toward them. That is not random. That is how people work, and in attraction it matters more than most men realize, because women do not remember every man who talked to them. They remember the one who left the moment still breathing, the one who did not overfeed the interaction, the one who did not explain every thought, the one who gave her something real to feel, then let the feeling live on its own. Now stay with me here, because this is where a lot of men get it twisted. They hear this and think the answer is to be cold, flaky, or confusing on purpose. Bad move. That is not strength. That is immaturity wearing a leather jacket. Real unfinished energy is not about disrespect. It is about not over-delivering access before it has been earned. It is about understanding that just because a moment is good does not mean you have to drain it dry. Most guys do exactly that. They get a girl laughing, and instead of ending the exchange at the peak, they keep pushing. More jokes, more text, more compliments, more explanation. They feel the momentum rising and panic that it might disappear, so they squeeze the moment to death to trying to keep it alive. That is where the magic dies. Because mystery does not disappear when you say less. It disappears when you say everything. A woman is not only responding to what happened between you, she is responding to what keeps happening after you leave, what she replays, what she wonders, what she almost understood, what she still wants to know. And when you give her no space to wonder, you remove half the emotional pull. What I'm about to tell you next is what separates men who get remembered from men who get consumed and forgotten. The remembered man knows how to exit a moment cleanly. He knows how to stop at the height, not after the height. So, he knows that a good interaction should not always end with full emotional closure. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is leave while the energy is still warm. That sounds simple. It is not, because most men are addicted to completion. They want to know where they stand. They want the text thread wrapped up nicely. They want every exchange resolved. They want every woman to clearly reveal interest so they can feel safe. And because of that, they overtext, over-explain, and overshare their way out of tension. You do not need to do that. You need to become comfortable leaving a little bit on the table. Let me make it real. You are talking to her. She is engaged, asking things, smiling more now. The conversation is opening. The average man sees that and thinks, wait, now I need to maximize this. So he keeps going and going and going until the energy goes flat. A stronger man feels the rise and ends it clean. Alright, I'm heading out. I'll tell you the rest later. That is enough. Not because the line is magical, because the timing is. Or you are texting. The vibe is playful. She is finally leaning in. Most guys think that is the time to flood the zone. The better move is to leave her with something alive. You are trouble. I'll talk to you later. Done. You did not ghost. You did not play dead. You did not act weird. You just did not empty the whole bottle. And now she has to sit with the feeling instead of immediately consuming the whole interaction and filing it away under complete. That matters. because complete things get stored, unfinished things echo. Now stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you next is where men sabotage themselves hardest. They mistake immediate clarity for connection. They think the more transparent they are, the more secure the bond becomes. So after 2 dates, they start saying too much. Where they stand, how different she is, what they are looking for, how rare this feels. They think honesty is building intimacy. Sometimes it is. Early on, it is often just pressure. It makes the interaction heavier than it needs to be. It turns light tension into emotional responsibility. It asks her to process something she has not even had time to fully feel yet. That is why a lot of women pull back after a man opens up too early. Not because she hates honesty, because he jumped 10 emotional steps ahead and dragged her with him. Timing, brother. The right thing said at the wrong time is still the wrong move, and that is why unfinished energy is powerful. It keeps things breathing. It lets curiosity do what overexposure cannot. It gives her room to step toward you instead of being drowned in your full emotional inventory before she has even earned a corner of it. Now here is the deeper part. Women do not just respond to words. They respond to internal movement, curiosity, anticipation, slight uncertainty, the feeling that there is still another layer to you she has not reached yet. That is not about playing hard to get, it is about being hard to fully access, because you have standards, pacing, and self-command. The average guy has none of that. He gets a little attention and spills, a little chemistry and he rushes, a little silence and he chases. He does not know how to hold the moment. That is why he becomes predictable. And predictability too early is where attraction starts suffocating. A woman does not get mentally pulled in by a man who hands her everything before she has had to invest. She gets mentally pulled in by the man who feels grounded, present, and slightly unfinished. The man who gives her enough to feel something real, but not so much that there is nothing left to discover. That is where emotional investment starts. Not from confusion, from curiosity. Big difference. Confusion feels messy, curiosity feels magnetic. One repels healthy women, the other makes them lean in. So do not confuse pacing with mind games. Real pacing feels calm. It feels intentional. It feels like a man who is not trying to wring certainty out of every moment. He can leave the conversation while it is still alive because he trusts his value enough not to force another 10 minutes out of it. That trust in himself is what makes it work. And what I'm about to tell you next is the piece most men never develop. The ability to tolerate the open loop yourself. That is the real test. Can you leave a good moment before it gets overused? Can you stop texting while the vibe is still high? Can you resist explaining when silence enters? Can you let her think about you without immediately feeding the thread again? Most cannot, because unfinished energy affects you too. You feel the urge to close it, to know, to make sure, to secure the outcome, and if you cannot master that impulse in yourself, you will never create the kind of space that makes someone else feel your absence. You will just keep flooding every opening until nothing is left. This is why self-control matters more than game. A man who has no emotional discipline cannot create tension. He can only create noise. He texts because he is anxious. He calls because he is uncertain. He explains because he is uncomfortable not being fully understood. And women feel that instantly. The man who creates deep pull is not the loudest, funniest, or most available. It is often the man who knows when enough is enough. The man who leaves a sentence half lit. The man who can smile, hold eye contact, say one clean thing, and then go back to his life. He is not clinging to the moment. He is not trying to extract validation from it. He let it exist. That alone makes him feel different, and different gets remembered. Now let's go further. Because this does not only matter at the beginning. Even inside an actual connection, this principle still works. The second a man becomes totally predictable, constantly accessible, emotionally over-explained, and always fully available, desire starts flattening. Not because love is gone, because discovery is gone. There is no texture, no edge, no movement. She already knows exactly what she gets every second of every day. That is not connection. That is emotional wallpaper. You do not need to become distant. You need to stay alive. Keep a part of yourself in motion. Keep your mission strong. Keep your routines intact. Keep some inner space that is yours. Be emotionally honest, yes, but do not become emotionally exhausting. She should feel your truth, not be buried under it. She should feel your presence, not have full psychological access to every thought the second it appears. That keeps the current alive, because the strongest attraction is not built on constant resolution. It is built on the feeling that even now, even after time, there is still more of you left to know. And brother, that is priceless. Now hear this clearly. Do not manufacture chaos. Do not disappear to punish. Do not act mysterious because you are empty. Become a man whose life is already full enough that he naturally leaves conversations, texts, and interactions with a little energy still in them. Become a man who does not overconsume good moments. Become a man who is present enough to create impact and disciplined enough not to overextend it. That is the shift. The average man thinks he needs to do more. The smarter man learns when to stop. And that stopping point, when chosen well, creates more emotional weight than another hour of talking ever could. So the next time the energy is good, do not rush to cash out the whole thing. Leave some spark in the air. Let her sit with it. Let her replay your tone. Let her wonder what you were about to say. Let her feel that you enjoyed her without instantly handing over all of your access. That is not manipulation. That is maturity. That is self-respect. That is frame. And once you master it, something changes. You stop chasing women through over-communication. You stop trying to earn interest by flooding the zone. You stop becoming too available too early. You let your presence hit. You let your exits matter. You let your absence create contrast. And now she is not just reacting to what you said. She is thinking about what you did not say. That is where you want to live. Not as the man who was complete and consumed in one sitting, but as the man who left something alive in her mind. That is how you stop chasing. That is how you stay remembered. That is how unfinished energy turns into attraction that keeps pulling long after the moment ends.